and refer them to the internet page. A Wikipedia page. Anyways.
Is the answer we didn't know? Is the answer we didn't know?
We did know. That's why we're here. To share what we were going to do. And just to introduce everybody who also were on other shows that suffered the same fate. Shows that ended too soon that had plans to do other things. We gathered some of those folks who are going to talk about those things. Over here to my left, Mr. Andrew Chambliss. Worked on a little show called Dollhouse. Another program called Spartacus Vengeance. Vampire Diaries. And currently Once Upon a Time. The aforementioned Ian Goldberg did Flash Forward. Terminator, the Connor Chronicles. Once Upon a Time as well. Now, Javier Grijo, Mark Squatch. He spelled that out for me. Charm, Medium, Lost. Dick 2.0 and his own, the Middlemen. Javier was nice enough to introduce me to Mr. Jose Molina. Jose is the power player here. Dark Angel, Firefly, another Phillian show, Castle, Hagen, Star Wars The Clone Wars, Terra Nova, Grimm, and the Vampire Diaries. So, he's got credit. And then a late edition, because Javier pointed out that it is quite a sausage party. Those are his words up here. Ms. Sarah Watson. Were you one of the girls that had gone genre?
No, but I was very inspired by that.
Very cool. Well, now you're here. Worked on the Middlemen. Which is far and away the biggest cheers I think we've heard. Maybe Lost is in contestant.
No.
Absolutely not.
Thanks, Dad.
And then a couple big genre shows, Parenthood, and Friday Night Lights. Okay, so we'll scratch.
She did write 2 Sci-Fi Channel movies.
Oh.
I think Volcano Man.
So I thought we might begin before we talk about what might have happened on some of these shows to just talk about serialized storytelling, how we put it together. I don't know, you guys seem riveted by that. We might show some video of how these shows ended. But first, let's talk a bit about process. Actually, no, let's get on the same page as the fans for a moment. Is there anybody up here who had their heart broken by a show that ended too soon, wanting to know what would happen?
Yeah.
Can you please tell what that show is? Or what?
Firefly?
That was the ultimate kick in the balls, being a fan and working on it. And actually knowing in the moment that we were doing really, really special work. In the moment, you usually don't know it. You look back and you go, wow, that was kind of cool. That was pretty great. The fact that we're here at Comic-Con 10 years later, having 5,000 people in Ballroom 20 is just a testament to how much more life is left in that show. That to me is sort of the for me personally, the end all ouchie cancellations.
Anything before you started working professionally in television? Anything as a kid that?
Remember Automan?
What's that?
Desmond Nash Jr., Chuck Wagner, Tron ripoff on ABC. 1983-84 season. Nobody really? Come on.
That as a kid, I was very upset when it went away. British American Hero was another one.
Max Headroom.
Dead at 21 was one for me. Did anyone else?
On MTV with Jack
Yes,
Noseworthy
I
and
loved it.
Flynn?
I have no idea how it ends.
Presumably he died at 21.
I was invested, and then he turned 20, and then they took the show away.
I would say V, the final battle. There was a bomb on the ship. They stopped on
The
that.
Star Child grabbed the controls and stopped the bomb from going off.
Oh my lord. I found out what happened.
that was filmed, that was in the series.
I think maybe my folks turned it off too soon.
Can I tell a story that sort of relates to what Jose was saying, which is I worked on a show called Jake 2.0. Thanks, Dad. And we knew the show was going to end, and I was given the task of writing the series finale. So I was writing the series finale, and we were preempted one Wednesday night, and they showed a rerun of America's Next Top Model. And it did twice the number of our first minutes. And the next day at 11:40 a.m., when I was supposed to start writing the finale, we'd gotten the outline cleared by the network. David Greenwald comes out of his office and into the writer's room and says, "Can everybody come into my office for a second?" And I said, "What? Did we get canceled?" Silence. And we were out of the office by 4 p.m. that day. So.
Gentlemen, any heartbreakers as a kid?
I think I would have to throw Twin Peaks,
There you go.
which is unusual because I didn't watch it while it was on the air, and it was one that I caught retroactively on DVD.
Did
I'm
you
still
know-
sad there were no more DVDs.
Did you know that there was going to be an end to it when you put the DVD?
I did, but I lied to myself. So that was a heartbreaker for me.
Mr. Chim.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jose with Firefly.
Nice. And you were strictly watching.
Strictly watching, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And also Alf.
Which was, however, brought to closure with the TV film Project Alf, starring Martin Sheen.
Not canon.
Not canon? What's next? Too soon?
By the way, the series finale of Fresh Prince broke my heart.
You know, a more modern example of a really great serialized show that was canceled because every season had only 13 episodes and the shows cost $126 million is Rome, which although it has the best closing line of any series ever, which if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's amazing. There were supposed to be more seasons of that because, history. I hear it's that stuff that comes from books. And HBO canned it in the second season because the overages on the show were so draconian, but it would have been, it was a show that I loved, and when it was over, it was like, we were like Fred Armisen and Carrie in Portlandia. We were like, one more episode!
So, of the shows you peeps have worked on, I know on Flash Forward when we worked on it, David Goyer created it with Brandon Braga from a novel by Robert Sawyer, but David was pretty much running it because Brandon was on 24. He had a plan for the ending from the moment we walked in the room, and was ambitious. It was a 5-year plan. Did the shows you guys worked on have far-flung plans like that?
Middlemen didn't. But the show was such an abject commercial failure that we kind of knew very early on. The conversations with Paul Lee, who ran ABC Family back then, were like, he would call me and I'd be like, "Are we canceled?" And he'd be like, "No, we love the show. It's great. It's doing nothing, but just keep making them and we'll have a nice DVD. It'll be like Freaks and Geeks,
Did he say that?
He did it after the 3rd episode aired. But we kept fantasizing that the show would find an audience, and actually our plan was that if we ever got a second season, we would start it as if it was the beginning of the 7th season. And then, you know, Wendy would be the middleman would be in Tibet, and you wouldn't know what the hell was going on. we were just actually going to do part 2 of a cliffhanger that we never did.
One day Wendy would become the master and become the new apprentice. That was something that was definitely in the works
Yeah,
from
and-
day one when I met with you.
And
You had a plan. Don't pretend like you didn't.
well, no, the thing is, the plan goes out the window really. I mean, on 24, they had the whole first, you know, every time, first of all, every time a showrunner says, well, we have a 5-year plan, bullshit.
There are children in the audience.
Yeah, right. There's children on the dais. You know, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is, whenever a showrunner says, well, you know, I wrote out the entire series outline and it's on a big chief notebook in a safe somewhere in Toluca Lake, that's crap.
Well, wait a minute. When we're talking about series that have things in safes, I'm talking very specifically out here.
Showrunners don't make it to the lake.
That's why they put the series plan there. No one's going to think to look into Toluca Lake. The point is, you know, making a show is like jazz. It's not a symphony. And you know, like there's a story about the guys who did 24 who had the entire first season mapped out, and they burned through all their story by the 10th hour of the first season, and they were like, what if Dennis Hopper was a Serbian? You know, and it's all. So it's jazz. You have to find in what you do the seeds for what you're going to do later on, and you have to throw the plan out most of the time.
But that is a good point, and I know on a couple shows that I've been on, invariably the thing that was going to be the finale turns out to be as early as like the 5th episode.
Absolutely.
Everything moves up. Is that your guys' experience as well?
Yeah, I mean, like Dollhouse, we got lucky because we never thought we were going to have a second season. No, I mean, we were all working at other jobs and got phone calls saying, you got to come back. And we were thrilled to do it, but we kind of went into the second season knowing, you know, we shouldn't save stuff for later because there might not be a later. So we were at least able to kind of work towards that. And, you know, even when we got canceled, we knew like 5 episodes ahead of time, so we were able to kind of ration everything up. But I mean, that is an instance where we did have a plan.
And the writing on the wall changed.
But yeah, the writing on the wall changed the plan, sped stuff up. I mean, I think that's, you know, some people's criticism of the end was that we kind of burnt through the story quickly, but it's kind of had to.
Sarah Connor was kind of an interesting case. Just because of the writer's strike, we only did 9 episodes the first year, and we had a 13 order, and we were hoping to get a full 22. So, because of where the season ended, episode 9, we ended it unintentionally on a cliffhanger, and so it kind of changed how the second season opened and the whole trajectory of it, just based on having to stop in the middle.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, and Javier, you were talking about that. Were you making episodes during the time that you were getting feedback or ratings from the audience?
On the middle?
Yeah. And did that affect even your plans?
No, I mean, you know, the audience was so minuscule that, you know, I had to sort of go into a bar in Toluca Lake and talk to them. No, you know what? The funny thing is, you know, Middleman was a comic book, Middleman was a lot of things, and we, I think Sarah can attest to the writing staff, was such a tight-knit group that I think we really were kind of our own best audience, and we just sort of all loved the show and loved each other's work so much that you know, we would kind of see what was going on in the outside world, but at least, you know, one of the benefits, I don't know if it's a benefit, but when you're only doing 12 episodes, you're just sort of in your own little bubble, and you don't really go crazy with fame, power, and glory till like you finish the first season and then you come back and you realize you're a success. So since we never were a success and never came back from the first season, we never had the opportunity to become, you know, sort of fixated on what was being said about the show. So it was, you know, we were just focused on making 12 handcrafted little bizarre sort of, I want to say gems, but the word that keeps coming to mind is booger. But I was actually just telling Sarah that there is something I can say about the plan for the Middleman that even she doesn't know, and that none of the middle writers in the room can actually don't know. So there you go.
Well, what is it? Seriously?
I'm sorry, I took my page from the Lindelof play.
There's a court inside the middle.
Wendy's Wendy's father was a middleman who was sent away from the earth at relativistic speed. The middleman, if anybody is even into the show that much, the middlemen were basically like the Green Lantern Corps, and every time a planet gets sophisticated enough, the O2SDK sends a satellite with an iodine in it, and they form a middleman thing in the planet. So Wendy's dad was actually sent away from Earth to at relativistic speeds to handle a conflict in another world, so he would have come, so if the show had ever come to it, he would have come back, but he would have actually been younger than Wendy. So he would have actually become Wendy's like the person that she has to train to be the new middleman.
Well, my mind is blown.
Cool.
Let's do that.
So since Javier's getting into what might have been, a lot of talk between me and the writer's PA, The Walking Dead, where I work, we edited sloppily. You know what? Well, we edited well. Pardon me, Alex. Alex Tully Brown is the gentleman who did it. 6.5 minutes of the endings of these shows, but we're not sure. Is that too much for you, or do you want to see a little refresher? I can't help but think I goaded you into it. All right, Sarah, you're on it.
Okay, yeah, I leave the one girl to do the technical.
Yes, well done.
Okay.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, you need a little, okay, you might want to hit back, because I think that's near the end.
Is that the bottom?
Where?
Okay, this would be Dollhouse,
Yeah.
and they did have audio.
She has future.
Yeah, this is. Can we get audio on this? Is there a?
Now remember, this is your guys' fault.
Could we just do the dialogue? There's a book. I wrote that, and I can tell you there's no dialogue.
Go ahead and go.
Andrew, you wrote the series finale?
With, yeah, Jackie Lanson.
Look at that. Look at that. We're not getting enough of this happening.
Could you read the stage?
I think that's your sci-fi channel movie.
Volcano, New York.
So I know this would be something like exterior fucked up building day.
Awesome headquarters, 2020.
Yeah, this is the year 2020.
2020. I think.
Set the scene, because we have
This
some
is for Flash Forward?
This is Dollhouse.
Oh, Dollhouse.
This is year 2020. The Dollhouse tech has gone. It's basically an apocalypse caused by brain erasing tech.
Right, one of those.
One of those.
Are we set tech-wise, or?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Brain erasing?
Having a pitch play and
Andrew, you destroyed it!
There's going to be a lot of piano music in this presentation.
Do you know this is excerpted? This is like every week of the end.
Clearly have particularly placed gray in her hair. Are we?
You want to melee me?
You sure you got room? I got a lot of baggage. Charlie's.
We'll work through it. We've got time.
I hate to leave you at your doorstep after your harrowing ordeal. Times like these, I wish O2SDK had some kind of counseling service.
Well, you showed up to get me. That's all the reassurance I need.
Now, Debbie, when I saw my mirror self through that gateway, a single question ran through my mind.
No, you would not look cooler with an eye patch.
Man's gotta wonder. But the question was, how far from that other middleman am I really?
get any ideas. This here's no pleasure crap.
Fits just like a glove. All right, kid. Let's kick some coil-tailed bait.
My boss? Well, I still own the guns, just like Dad. Yeah, I can't wait to go in tomorrow and see what comes up. Really? I don't think I've ever heard you say that before. You think I sound happy? Well, Mother, that might be because all is right with the world.
Okay, I'm just gonna pass out for a minute, but you're doing great.
And you live to fight another day.
Any chance that some of the clones might survive?
He had left, I'd say his chance would be about 1 in a very large number.
There'll be poems songs. You got some play on just every damn thing.
I think now we can start talking about, and you started, Javier, what we might have done or what the creators of those shows were planning to do with those shows if they had gone.
I think when they pulled the lever on that flash forward thing, it would have been really cool if they woke up in the Dollhouse universe.
Both ends of the buildings exploding, so.
Yeah,
They're on the same page with something.
Well, that was the building, the Los Angeles DWP building. So,
I think it'd be cool if they woke up next to Bob Newhart.
Patrick Duffy in the shower. Jose.
Yes.
Firefly.
Yeah.
What might have occurred if it went on?
Well, kind of what was going to occur is what occurred a couple years after in Serenity. There was a plan to get into Book's character who had a backstory that we never had a chance to get into, and Inara and her backstory, the fact that she was terminally ill, and that's why she wasn't connecting into who. Those were stories we didn't get to tell. So what Joss did for Serenity was just take the central story of the whole thing, which is the thing that kicks off the pilot, which is rescuing the river. And so that was what drove the whole series. We've got these fugitives on board, and we've got the fans are coming after them. So he chose to focus on that story for the movie, and so I've heard different versions of this. Some people say that the movie is how season 2 was going to end. I remember it being how season 1 was going to end, but that's where it was going. It was going to Miranda and the past, and the Reavers were made by Blue Sun and all that stuff that you guys know about in some.
Very cool. Going from Whedon to Whedon. Now you've done some Dollhouse comics.
I've done some Dollhouse comics for Dark Horse.
What was that? Using any of the stuff that maybe you were going to do later?
Some ideas that we had. I mean, what we would have done if the show had gone on is we would have done a show in the apocalyptic universe, because apocalypses are just more fun.
I believe that.
You roll down.
It's a hell of a time.
So it probably, it would have been a show about Adele and Echo trapped in the dollhouse, apocalyptic world outside, sending dolls out to help people.
And this would be in 2020?
This would have been, we had a whole timeline mapped out. The apocalypse would have happened in 2013, and then we had 7 years to do 7 seasons of apocalyptic dollhouse. And now there's 6 comic books.
There you go. So how far into the 7 years are you?
Well, I mean, the thing we did was when we did the finale, we jumped ahead to 2020 and told the end of the story.
So you picked up on that?
No, we went back and are filling in the blanks, which is kind of fun.
And it's ongoing?
It depends.
So ringing endorsement.
Yes.
Ian, now Flash Forward had an interesting thing happen. David Goyer, the creator of the show, or the showrunner of the show, parted ways with ABC about halfway into the season. He had an idea for the ending, and then the people, Lisa Swerling and Timothy J. Lee, who took over, also had an idea. So there were sort of 2 endings set up for the future. What were? I can help you a little bit.
Yeah, well, let's. The one I remember us talking about at the end of the season, and you see some of it in the finale. By the way, co-written by Scott Gimple.
I actually have written 2 series finale, so I killed shows dead.
The Reaper?
Intentional or unintentional finales?
Neither was intentional. So yeah, I really just put those down.
But what we had talked about towards the end of the first season was that the blackout that happened at the end of the season, it would be a different sort of blackout from the one we experienced the first time around, which is that people are flash forwarding to different points in the future. Some people would have flash forwards 5 minutes in the future, some people would go 100 years. Some people's flash forwards would be a few seconds, some would be an hour. And so it would be Like the final image of Charlie, the little girl, seeing herself way in the future, exploring a different kind of mosaic of how people's stories fit together, and also the bigger mystery of what was causing the flash forwards.
I have a pressing question.
Yeah.
Is it flash forwarding or flashing forward?
Wow. Wow. You know, I don't know if people, that word rather, flash forward, was said probably like 15,000 times during the show. I think not once was it used as a verb. So we have no idea of the conjugation, but I will say, if there had been a second season, we would have tackled that.
So I'm going to flash forward to the conjugation.
I will say, I emailed David Goyer about this. David Goyer is working on a show that I actually worked on with him in the hiatus of Walking Dead. It's called Da Vinci's Demons, and it's going to be on Starz. And I'm saying right here, right now, it's going to be excellent. But I asked him what he had in mind, that 5-year plan, because actually, one thing that was funny with that show is he actually kept it from us, much like Javier did.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, goodness. I'm just saying, David Goyer also, kept a lot from us. Yeah, 15 minutes, my God. We have to open up the floor in a second. Then I have to rifle through.
So that it may swallow you alive.
I will say that David's plan, and I'm just going to slaughter it here.
That's what you do, Scott.
I wrote the series finale of Charlie's Angels, but I don't know what's thanking me. I don't know.
David, basically within the seasons, even within the first season, there was this device that was found. It was this device that's based on this real thing called the Antikytherian device that was found in the Mediterranean Sea. And it's this ancient computer that they dug up, and it's like thousands of years old, but it works with all these cogs and everything. The idea being that they had found this and that they were going to use this to predict, or they figured out that it predicted when another flash forward was going to come. And basically over the 5 years, and I am destroying this, which is a shame, the flash forwards were going to be happening quicker and quicker. The next season was going to be 6 months ahead. It was 9 months, I believe, in the first season. Next season was going to be 6 months. Next season after that, like 3 months. Till it got to, I think, like in the 4th or 5th season, there would only be 3 days left. And what they saw after that was everybody in the world, when they passed out, saw nothing except for 17 people. Those 17 people were the only people, I guess, who had a future on Earth.
And one of them was going to be Olivia, Sonia Walder's character.
Yes. And they were going to, those 17 people all around the world were going to piece together what happened. And Mark Benford, who Joseph Fiennes played, and I'm probably not pronouncing Fiennes right, am I?
Lloyd
Simcoe, played by Smash's Jack Davenport. Basically, we're going to try and figure it out, and a big part of this was Lloyd was going to figure out a way to send a message in the past, thousands of years. There were plans for the Antikytherian device, and they will realize that the device that had sort of led the way the whole time, they had sent back themselves, and they were going to solve it, and it was going to be amazing.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't want to.
No, please. No.
I have a question that I'd like to throw to the panel, if you don't mind.
Love it.
Now, so we've all had our hearts broken by shows that we wished, had ended differently or later or whatever. For example, I could give that same speech you just gave about what the original conception was for the ending of Lost. Mm-hmm. But there's something.
Oh yeah, plans change.
Yeah, but my question is, the shows that would you on shows that in which that happened, would you rather have known, or is there something in your imagination that, after hearing that, do you think it's better because you actually have a wide open space to play with in your imagination, and you can know what, you can make up the ending for yourself? Is that a factor for any of you as viewers, not as creators?
Are you saying if a show ends prematurely, at least there's that comfort that you...
Do you wish you'd known, or is it more fun to make it up in your head based on what they've given you to play with?
I would say this, though. I think you're 100% right, Javier. It's like, there's just no way the thing that I just laid out would probably have happened that way. In the first season, the finale for the first season turned out to be halfway in the season, and so many different things changed. It's almost, I don't know, it's a cool sort of B-side, you know, or a demo version or something like that. Believe me, even if that feels
2 hours of him basically outlining the whole season, like
yes.
not even the whole season, like through season 3, and I've never been in a meeting like that. I'm like, oh my god, he has like this world figured out, he's figured out all the rules, he's figured out everything. And then I watched episode 2 when it aired, and like nothing gets said.
Yeah. Well, there's also though the changes you make yourself out of inspiration, things that you're liking, things you're not liking, the way they're coming out when you film them, the way they come out when they edit them, the way the audience feels about them. But also, it's just, you know, executives not letting you do things.
Which is why in the Middlemen we got to do the show we wanted to do, because no one watched it, so the executives were like, keep going.
Also because, you know, with ABC Family, just to piggyback on that, it's like they let, you know, we would be like, okay, you know, we're going to have a half dozen little people in astronaut suits and with hand tools breaking the place up. And they're like, great, is Wendy's hair going to be pretty? And we're like, yes, and we'll send you photos and you can approve all the costumes. And they're like, yeah, have all the little people in spacesuits. They were awesome that way. And in fact, you know, the weirder the stories got, the more they were like, yeah, go ahead.
I will say, working on The Walking Dead, we were on ABC with Flash Forward, broadcast networks are notoriously a little more handsy than cable networks, and it's very, there's even more pressure in some ways if you don't have limitations. It's the writer's room, and we're all trying to do a great job, and we know that no one's really going to stop us but ourselves. And it's a very weird thing. On Flash Forward, I would say a lot of those plans change just because of executives.
We had nothing but limitations on the Middleman, because if you saw that clip, like, you know, our series finale was 3 people in a room, and you guys blew up Bombay.
Yeah.
we have a young woman who turns into a slightly older woman, who, you know, I mean.
It was amazing to see the budgetary latitude there. Yes. It was astounding. Even when I was
Thank you for the face-saving turn of a phrase.
Yeah. I will say, watching that, I was like, oh my god, that's expensive. It was late at night. I wasn't cognizant of that when we were filming it. Anyways, we have like 9 minutes left. If you have questions, by all means, ask them. Let's do this. Yes, and say your name, please.
I'm Katie.
You're Katie. You might just want to shout.
Meet Katie.
Hi.
She's winning dinner.
I'm Katie. This is a question for Andrew, and I will avoid spoilers, but the person who became the head, who turned out to be the head of RASA, was that always the plan, or was that sort of like, we got to rush it, so we're going to pick this person?
Always the plan, no, but it was a nice improvise. And I mean, maybe about 5 or 6 episodes to get that going, but yeah.
Thank you, Katie.
You just made me think one thing about limitations imposed by networks. That's the good thing about heading towards cancellation, is oftentimes they just stop caring.
Yes. Yes, they do get those. When the notes calls start getting shorter, you have every reason to panic.
There's actually 2 truths in that statement. One, when you know a show is ending, it gets a lot better.
Yeah.
Because you start writing for the fences. You just, you know,
well, but you also don't have that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, when an actor finds out they're going to die, all of a sudden they act their little hearts out. If you'd shown us this in the last 20 episodes, you wouldn't be dying.
Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Sunil, and I love all the shows you presented here, but when people read the description, I know somebody said, I wish someone from Connor Chronicles was there. And we do have somebody there. So please, Ian, what can you tell us?
What would you like to know?
What happened there?
Well, I will say, Josh Friedman, our amazing creator, tight-lipped, but it doesn't want to spoil too much. But I will say that what we set up in the second season finale of John Connor in the Future War, seeing him in an alternate timeline where no one knows who he is and he has to ascend the ranks and become the John Connor that we know. You had John Henry, the Terminator, who's become fully sentient, also running around. And that, what's up?
In that same timeline?
Yeah, in the same timeline. And then there's also the question of what happened to Sarah Connor. You know, is she in an alternate timeline running around in the future? Did she die? So all that, and also John's relationship with Allison, the human counterpart that Cameron, the Terminator, is based on, would be a big part of it as well.
I would have ended that show that they find this hatch and they open it and decide it's Morpheus and Neo. And they're like, thank God you're here, we need your help. And Neo's like, what? You did this!
That was pitched.
Hi, I'm Brian. I was wondering, when the series gets canceled, how well do you think it works moving to another medium like Dollhouse to the comic books or Firefly to the movie Serenity?
Middlemen as well.
Middlemen fan fiction.
Written by me.
It's a little weird.
Yeah. You know, with the Middleman, the story of the cancellation of the Middleman is this. We were approximately $5,000 over budget per episode. At CBS, they built me a statue for that. At ABC Family, it meant that they had to not make one of their pilots. So they basically said, look, you know, there's about $100,000 in overage in the season. You can do the series finale, which Hans Beimler and I had already scripted, but you have to do it in 6 days. And their shows probably shoot in 8 days with maybe an extra day of second unit. We were shooting 7 days, and we could barely get the 3 people in the room, and it was going to be the first TV episode I ever directed. And I was like, no. Thank you, we're good. So we added an additional day of shooting to the last episode, made it a little fancier, and then out of our wrap budget, we put some money aside so we could do the comic book. And you know, the comic book is much grander in scope. It's got everything. It's got the kangaroos that shoot missiles out of their mouths, and we were able to do that. So for us, it worked out really well. You know.
Just moving to lightning round now because we have like 2 minutes. So.
I have a very quick Middleman question, and Lisa, by the way. Thank you very much, first of all, for the cast read of episode 13.
Oh.
Do you think the show would have survived longer if it was not an ABC Family? Because it didn't seem a good match for us.
No, the show, you know, look, don't be sad it ended, be happy it happened. 12 good ones are better than 100 crappy compromised ones, absolutely.
I'm sorry, other people in line, they just cut us off, but thank you. This would be the last question, lots of pressure.
Lots of pressure. I was just wondering, so it seems like a lot of sci-fi genre shows, either it ended too soon or fans hate the ending. And I was just wondering if any of you have a favorite ending of a genre show.
That's a great ending question. Yeah, okay, now the pressure's on us. You know what? A great genre ending, though it's very dim in my mind, and Javier, I expect you to keep me honest on this, because you really have been the geek ombudsman here. Next Generation.
I actually look at it as the canonical ending of all Star Trek. It's a better movie than certainly the movies they made afterwards, and it's beautiful. All good things is beautiful.
You have no idea how much it pleases me that you agree. Because
I have to go with Angel, which I actually thought was a better series finale than the Buffy season.
And